Jnanardhani, Empowering Excellence. Friends, today is Guru Purnima. On this auspicious occasion of Guru Purnima, we thought we should have an important program for all our young members and help them to become successful by attending this program. Friends, enlightened on this Guru Purnima, we have a very successful chartered accountant. He is the guru for many youngsters. He can show directions to path how one can live as a successful chartered accountant. He is none other than CA Sanjay M Dhariwal. Highly successful entrepreneur, I can say. He is into many fields, not only in the field of chartered accountant. He has currently as a business advisor, is doing his service to society and to other entrepreneurs. He's a mentor for many. I thought we should take his help to guide our young members. How can they set up their practice? How they can grow their practice? In that idea, we have arranged this program as a mentorship program for young members. The topic is challenges and opportunities for young CA firms. It is not young chartered accountant, it is for young CA firms. Many CAs may be worked in various industries and now want to come to set up practice. Many senior CAs are doing the practice as a proprietary concern. Now they want to scale up because things are changing now. ICI has come out with the new guidelines for networking, alliance model, and multidisciplinary practice. It is going to be order in future. I think in 2017, when our Prime Minister came to Institute to celebrate CA Day, he mentioned, I want to see 100 next four big fours in India. What we call big fours, he wanted big fours from India. That is what he asked from the ICI, help the Indian CAs to become the largest and the global players. In that direction, ICI thought this much before. In fact, in 2011 only, they thought of multidisciplinary practice. Unfortunately, that couldn't be implemented so far. Now things are taking shape. I think they already come out with the Form 18 to change the firm's constitution by adding various other professionals, company secretary, cost accountants, actuaries, advocates, like that. In other professions, I think particularly in advocates and actuaries, I think they are not going to amend immediately. Whereas the company secretary and ICW probably they are going to change their constitution and we can have the multidisciplinary practice. So things are changing very fast in the dynamic world. In this situation, better we understand how we can face these challenges, how we can change and move forward with a different mindset. So far, I think more than 70% of our practicing units are proprietary. Maybe another 20% of 2 partners, another 5% of 2 to 4 partners kind of thing. Very few firms, maybe in hundreds or less than 300 firms are fairly big, 8 to 10 partners or 10 plus partners kind of a thing as of now. But if you want to make bigger firms, we need to change the mindset. So in that regard, I thought it appropriate a person who is already successful as a practicing chartered accountant, as a business advisor, he's going to enlighten us. So on behalf of Bangalore Branch and on behalf of all the participants who are joined here and virtually joined, hearty welcome to CA Sanjay M Dhariwal. Friends, you are the reason for this program, those who are participating here. hearty welcome to each one of you. And those who are joining online, hearty welcome to each one of you. With that note, I'll take a minute to inform about the upcoming program. So, this month, 31st, as I already mentioned, multidisciplinary practice is going to come. Only the final guidelines have to come, otherwise it is already there. To understand or to if any modification required in the current thinking of the ICR, I thought it appropriate as a largest branch of ICR. We call all our South Indian Central Council members. All the 6 of them agreed to participate on that day to discuss the pros and cons of multidisciplinary practice. And there will be a question and answer sessions. I request all the members to come out with the various questions. What are the concerns you have? So what are the doubts or clarifications you look forward? Please send if possible those questions well in advance to chairman, BLR chairman at ICA.org so that I can compile and pose it to our Senate Council members. Otherwise, you can even ask those questions on that day too, to chat box or Q&A session. So there is an important program. Again, next month we have another important program. It's a sub-regional conference that is from 12th, 13th, and 14th of August, 3 days program on new areas of practice like Benami law, PMLA, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, and black money. The 3 days program. It's a sub-regional conference. So eminent chartered accountant advocates from North India are coming. They are into full-time practice of those areas. It's a new area, and Bangalore is a happening city, one of the largest wealth contributor. Maybe there are opportunities, even otherwise, as a chartered accountant, as a business advisor, we need to advise and understand the new laws, to advise our clients about the Benami law, about the PMLA, about the black money. All these are important items. And the seriousness of those is very, very severe. So we need to understand as a business advisor. So the next important thing is as we chartered accountant, the compliance practice are going down. As a business advisor, we need to understand all these issues in addition to current our GST or income tax practice that is, I think, slowly going down. So these are all the new areas of practice. That is the reason we made it 3 days program. Normally, all these 3 laws combined together, we used to have 2-hour session, 3-hour session. Instead of that, we made it 3 days program, 12, 13, and 14. So I request all of you to register that program. Again, tax audit. Tax audit is an important area. Even today, I think many of our friends are doing that. That is the main area of practice. For that reason, tax audit and various other issues regarding income tax, we making a 3 days program from 19, 20th, and 28th in the month of August. 3 days program. I request all of you to register that. In addition to that, many other interesting programs are coming up in the month of August. So I request please visit bangaloreici.org so that you will get all the information about all the new initiatives of Bangalore branch. So thank you very much. Once again, hearty welcome to you. Hearty welcome to our speaker and speakers, CA Sanjay Dhariwal. Now I request Divya is there. Please introduce our speakers.
Yes, sir. A very pleasant good evening to all the participants. To give a brief introduction about our today's speaker, we have CA Sanjay Dhariwal with us as a practicing chartered accountant since 1993 and a fellow member of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. His founding partner of the firm Dhariwal and Srinivas and heads the indirect tax division. Sanjay is also a graduate of law from Bangalore University. He is partner in charge of Dhariwal Srinivas and affiliate a network of CA firms across India having its presence in 29 locations. He is director of many companies to name a few: DNS Consulting Private Limited, DNS Realtors Private Limited, Mackle Graphics India Private Limited, Salt and Pepper Entertainment Private Limited, Dikshansh Publication Private Limited, Chetty's Corner Foods Private Limited, Pound Wise Forex. He was also co-opted member of Indirect Tax Committee of ICA for the 1819. He is chairman of Youth Wing Jito Apex elected Chief Trustee of Therapant Professional Forum, past president, and also he was past president of TPF. Editorial advisor, the Aryavath Express English Weekly. With this very brief introduction, I welcome you for today's program. Wholehearted welcome, sir, once again on behalf of all the managing committee members and also on behalf of entire participants. Over to you. Manish, kindly unmute, but we are not able to hear.
Is it audible now? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Divya ma'am, for the wonderful introduction and the opportunity given to me to speak here today. I think this has been the maximum number of times I've spoken on the Bangalore chapter chairman platform in a year. I think the sir has been very kind enough to call me, and every time he's given me a different topic. So today I have been asked to speak on a topic which is very close to my heart, and a topic which every chartered accountant, however senior he is, has gone through. The challenges and the opportunities what are applicable for a chartered accountancy firm as such, for chartered accountants as such. When every one of us, basically, if you see that when we as students, when we became chartered accountants, there was a lot of happiness in the whole family, in the society in which you stayed across, as well as for you that you have taught. You have basically crossed one of the biggest hurdles of your life. Am I right, ma'am? Right? So that was one of the biggest challenges we had, that passing CA. Many of our friends said that CA is very tough. Family members said it's very tough. And they said it is next to impossible to pass. So when we thought that, okay, fine, if we can pass CA, our life is settled. And after we pass our chartered accountancy and we set up our offices or we get into employment or we go across the society, we suddenly realized that that was just the beginning of the iceberg. It was not the end of the iceberg. The whole process again starts across as to what should I do. Before going into this process of how do I set up my practice, what are the opportunities, how we used to set up our practices earlier and how we are setting up the practices today, there's a lot of difference between the way what V.T. Shetty sir has done, what his father-in-law has set up his practice, and what probably the present generation is setting up. There's a huge difference between the way things have changed with the economy as well as with the field of practice. I love playing with kids, so whenever I meet young small kids, I ask them, who are around 4 years, 5 years, 6 years old, I ask them one question: do you know English? And they say, yes, I know English. Because for a kid, what does English mean? It means that he knows ABCD, he knows A for apple, B for ball, and C for cat. And he is highly excited when somebody asks him that, do you know English? And then as you ask him that, do you know English, can you tell me A to Z? He goes at a very fast express speed to say A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K to Z. Right? I have forgotten it. But then, suddenly you ask them a question. Can you tell me the English alphabets from Z to A? And then he starts thinking. And that's the time when you realize that English is one subject which you have learned in your pre-nursery days, and you end up learning in your final year of degree. And after you do your CA, you still learn English because interpretation is all based on the languages. So then you realize that there's so much more into English. Similarly, this is one thing that I would always like to put it across to my young chartered accountant friends, that once you qualify as a chartered accountant, the society thinks that you are a master of taxation, you are a master of law, you are a master of business, you are an extraordinary person when it comes to the economy, and any subject which deals with law, taxation, economy, you should be able to answer. And this is exactly when you pass your CA, you feel you know everything. You're like that small kid who is asked, do you know English? And you say, yes, I know English. As in when you get into the practice, as in when you get into the depth of the subject, suddenly you start realizing that probably at the age of Mr. S. Krishna Swami, I would say, when he was at the age of 90s, also reading for around 3 hours to 4 hours a day, you realize that you still know nothing. You know a very, very basic part of your subject which you are supposed to be a super specialist. Many a times, I remember during the VAT time and during the GST implementation time when I used to go for seminars and conferences, many people used to ask me this question. What for you, sir? You know everything about GST, you know everything about the VAT. And then I used to ask them, how much do you think I know about GST or how much do you think I know about VAT? They used to say, what do you know? You have gone there to advise you know this thing, you know that, you have written books on this and all. And then they used to ask me, you should be knowing 90% of the GST or VAT. And then I used to correct them to say that I wish I knew even 4 to 5% of VAT or GST. That means to say that when even people who are claimed or acknowledged in the industry or in the profession as super specialists or experts in a particular field, if you go and ask yourself how much do you know about that subject, you would realize that 4 to 5% is exaggeration of what you have. You have to say 4 to 5%, you cannot say 1 to 2% of the subject, otherwise the clients will not. 5% in my knowledge, my belief is actually an exaggeration of a person knowing about 5% of a particular subject, a particular law, a particular taxation issue, which is say very confined to indirect taxes. Right? That means to say there's so much of depth, there's so much of knowledge, there's so much of things. So even if you get multiple berths, I don't think you can cross the 10% levels. Even if you're spending substantial time in the field of research, substantial time in the field of understanding the law, you will not be able to actually get through it. Then you have, whenever there is a scam, today the stock markets are booming, the balance sheets are showing the fantastic results. All of a sudden, after a year or two, you will come across that there are a lot of scams and lots of balance sheets were signed and the profits were exaggerated. And you may see these situations, what we have seen in the past. There are lots of dot-com companies, there are lots of IT companies which are showing a huge valuation. We have the Zomato which was shown around 1 lakh crores of market capitalization, which was suggested activity. So, just having data, just not having anything, they are 2 times, 3 times the size of SAIL, a company which is into manufacture of steel, which large infrastructure, large production capacity, huge volumes, making profits, and a company which is making losses is having a market valuation of 1 lakh crores. I'm not saying that the balance sheets are false, but the way the people are looking at the balance sheets, the way the people are looking at businesses, the way the people are looking at things has changed completely. In 1993, I started my practice, and when I started my practice, the biggest challenge for a chartered accountant was that we did not have multinational companies in India. The economy was just opening up in 1990s, and Manmohan Singh did a fantastic job as the finance minister in 1990s for us to the economy to be opened and we were able to get the multinationals coming in, and the whole scenario of chargeability changed. What we were charging at 250 rupees for a certificate, running around 15 years, going and signing and coming across. And today, if you charge 25,000 rupees for the same certificate, inflation has not increased 100 times, but your chargeability has increased 100 times. One, probably because you are an established firm today, you are a senior member in the profession, you can charge, but more so because the ability of a client to recognize what a chartered accountant contributes to them is also changed. So, if I may charge around 25,000 for a certificate, there may be a youngster who may do it at 3,000 or 4,000, but it is still 10 times, 12 times what we get charged. So, this is a huge change which has happened, where today clients recognize professionalism, clients recognize the fact that you have to pay to get good quality of services. Yesterday I was in Bombay and I just landed today afternoon, and one of my clients from Hooghly was there. And we were just talking and he said, sir, we don't get the quality of chartered accountants in Hooghly what you get in cities like Bombay and Bangalore. They were talking about taking over a company of 200 crores into manufacturing of the next product. And from a multinational company, they were taking on the share. So they wanted the valuation, the due diligence, and all that. So I remember that if a client had come to me in 1990s and we had spent around 3-4 hours with him discussing about his new venture or what he's going to take across. And since we had not done the audit for him, we had just discussed about the business plan. since we have not done any certification for him, since we have not done any accounting for him, we just try to understand his business plan and then try to tell him that whether he should go in for this or no. He would say, "Thank you very much, Sanjay. Chai ka ek udara." You know what does it mean? It means that thank you very much for the cup of tea you gave me. I owe you a cup of tea. The fees was never discussed. Today, how have things changed? If you're spending the 3 lakhs for a business consulting with your client and you're telling that you're charging 2 lakhs or 5 lakh rupees, he will not even whisper, is it 5 lakhs or is it 3 lakhs or 2 lakhs? Is it so much? If he feels the value, he will definitely pay you for the simple reason is that you are adding value to it and the confidence factor. When earlier he used to talk about a business, he used to talk about a business of trading. He rarely used to talk about a business of manufacturing. But today, there are so many mergers and acquisitions taking place in the market today that he values. So going back to the example of a child, when you ask him, do you know English? And he says, yes, I know it. Many times when we talk to the article clerks in our offices, we are very surprised when the article clerk comes and tells you, sir, I have done 1 year of articleship in GST and I know the whole GST law, I want to get into direct tax. After 6 months, he comes back and says, sir, I finished learning the whole direct tax, from then I go into audit. 6 months he spent for the audit and he says that I have learned everything in audit also. There's nothing much to learn for me. So I will go for an industrial trade. No, the article clerks and the young chartered accountants many times behave like the small kid who thinks that if you know the alphabets of ABCD, you know the English language nothing. Is English language just knowing the alphabets? Is it just knowing framing of sentences? It is just knowing the words, how to write it and spell it across? I think it is much, much more beyond that. Do you all agree with me? The same way, as a chartered accountant, when we are into our profession, this is one thing that the perception of a client is that you are a grandmaster. Normally, when you ask about whenever you meet anybody, when you meet your classmates who are not doing this, who have not done the CA, and the first thing they'll say, to be a CA, you have to be a nerd. Am I right? Is that what the perception is? I remember when I was doing my CA, my friends used to tell me, Sanjay, don't touch him. Don't have any prank calls for him. He's the only intellectual guy in our group. That used to be the thought of a brand which the institute had. I don't say it has come down, but definitely we as youngsters today has to see that we see the growth of this brand being much bigger than what it used to be. Because this is what it is. Today, many times youngsters come to me for a career counseling and the first thing I say that, what are you doing? Many people may not believe it, but I have made 2 engineers become chartered accountants. 2 people who had come for mentoring to me, and after they had completed the engineering, their parents sent me for mentoring, and I convinced them to do CA. They completed the CA and now they are practicing as chartered. And then one of the CA's son had come to me, who was an engineer, and unfortunately he could not join CA. But he had come, I'll not name the senior member's name. He told me, Sanjay, can you mentor my son? I said, sure. He sent his son to me. We discussed. He had just written the entrance for IIM. And he came to me and he had done his engineering. I told him the advantages of doing CA post engineering and all that. He was highly impressed and he told his dad, I'm going to do CA. His dad had convinced him to do CA when he was in 8th, 10th, etc. because the practice was there to be taken over. And at that time, he did not agree. He told, I'm going to get engineering. And after we met, he decided to do his CA. Fortunately for him, he got his results of his entrance and he got selected in IIM Ahmedabad. And he told his dad, I'm not going to go ahead with IIM Ahmedabad. I'm going to do my CA and I'm going to be a chartered accountant itself because I see a lot of value as chartered accountants what we can add. I don't want to do my IIM. Then his dad called up and he said, I sent my son for some good guidance. You have corrected him so much that he's not going to IIM. So I had to again call him, beat him for half an hour, convince him that first you do your IIM in the bar. And after that, if you want, you can come back to CA and do it. Don't worry about it. You're very young. And after he did it, I am come back. So what I'm trying to say is there are opportunities everywhere. Now, somebody asked me, why CA after engineering? This was the question when I was doing my law and asked my friends who were doctors who had come for doing that. I asked of all the things in the world, what is the correlation between a doctor and an advocate? Why should a doctor do law? It never makes sense to me. Chartered accountants doing law, it makes a lot of sense because they work as seniors who do it. But why a doctor doing law? And he told me that Sanjay, the reason why I'm doing law is there are so many cases on medical fraternity. And only if a person who understands medical science can defend that. So you should be a person who understands law as well as who understands medicines to basically do it. So this is what is the way things have changed. Earlier, we always used to believe that a common degree in the same field is I've done my PUC, I've done my degree, I've done my BCom, and now I'm doing my CA. But today you need multi-dimensional places where you have to look into it to see that what are the opportunities it can have. And there's so much of scope. Do you know about doctors working in insurance companies? I'm not talking about selling insurance policies. My brother is a doctor. His classmate is a doctor again from King's Hospital, from King's Medical College. And you'll be surprised to know that he joined an insurance company and now he is placed at Switzerland and he handles all the medical insurance reimbursement claims. Because being a doctor, he is the person who knows what is a benign claim, what is not a benign. And he's reached at the senior most level because being a doctor, he was able to give much more value to the insurance company than probably a chartered accountant, a finance guy, or an actuaries guy who basically knew on how to value the insurance. So why am I telling these different examples to the young chartered accountants? I'm just trying to say that what we used to believe in business concepts earlier and what we believe in the business concepts today has phenomenally changed. Earlier, people were not valuing professionals, they were not giving the value for it, the money was not coming. Today, professionals are treated with care, they are treated with respect, and they know that the basic service a chartered accountant does is not just the audit, etc. Every advice, every word of them can save them growth of the business. Earlier, when we used to get into business, I don't remember any of our parents would have ever allowed us to say that you can set up a business. Or I would never advise a client to set up a business which is going to make losses for the next 5 to 10 years. Would you do that? Today? Is Zomato into profit? Is Flipkart into profit? Is Oyo into profit? Is Uber and Ola into profit? Is Amazon into profit actually? No. But still, what is the valuation? All your traditional firms which are there, they don't have a value, but these companies have huge value. Why? Because the way of doing business has changed. The same way, the way of doing our profession has also changed. So what is the thing that I would like to advise the youngsters today as opportunities and challenges when it comes to our profession? The first most important thing is that how many of us have a vision in our life? This, when I sit with my articles, I ask them, why do you want to do this? The next question is, after CA, what do you want to do? You would be surprised that most of the people who come to do an articleship are not aware that after they qualify as chartered accountants, what they want to do. Is this what? You can take it as a vision. When you join your engineering college, when you join your medical college, are you not basically aware that you're going to be an engineer and a doctor? And after that, whether you're going to get into practice, you're going to get into IT, you're going to get into civil engineering. We do not have those specialization courses in CA at a basic level. Post CA, yes, you have some certification courses. But then, when you qualify or when you enter into a course like CA, you know if you become a chartered accountant, what is the area of specialization? What is it that you want to do? You want to go into industry, you want to go into the big four, you want to go into your own consulting firm, or you want to get into business. Unfortunately, the vision concept is missing. So before you go into the opportunities, before you go into the challenges, I think the first fundamental thing that every chartered accountant, whether he is as a student, he's a qualified chartered accountant, or he is a senior chartered accountant today, you have to first define what is my vision. Coming to the statement of vision, I would just like to give you an example of Mukesh Ambani. A very close friend of mine, a classmate of mine, is an advisor to the Ambanis also in various other governments because he had one of the largest banks in the world. When we were driving down from Pune to Bangalore, I was talking to him to the airport. He told me, Sanjay, how do you find Reliance? I said, they would be the best in the country. They are going by the vision of Dhirubhai Ambani to say that 20% of the GDP would be theirs. And they're slowly getting into that mode. I do not know they'll achieve that or not, but they are going towards that direction. He said, you're wrong. Ambanis do not think about being the best in the country. They think about being the best in the world. See the difference on the concept and the philosophy that if you are able to establish a company like Reliance, you do that because your vision is very different. You have a vision to say that you want to be best in the world. How many chartered accounting firms in India are there who want to say that we don't? Many of us would say we want to compete with the big four, we want to compete with the multinational firms, we want to compete with the large mid-segment firms which we see like the SDUs and all that. But the fact is that how many of us say, like what Modi asked us to do, like what our chairman said, that what Narendra Modi has said, that how many of us are there to say that I want to set up a firm which is going to be the best in the world? That vision, how many chartered accountants? How many chartered accountants, youngsters, when they set up, they say, I want a firm where people from across the globe would contact me to say, I want to employ you, I want your services, can you give me the services? It may not be like the large companies, large big fours, etc., where they give you a single window service or anything. But in any field in which you are going, any area in which you are going, would you not like to be the best in the world? If I have moved from indirect taxes, Shetty sir knows very well that I was into indirect taxes from 1993 till 2019. After that, I have always said that I will not take any sessions on indirect taxes because I quit indirect taxes. I moved into a different field called business consulting for what purpose? Today, if you are not going to have a vision for your organization, today, if you are not going to have a vision for your own practices, are you going to have the same zeal to deliver what you have to deliver? Unfortunately, no. The first thing which is most important for every chartered accounting firm, whether senior, junior, youngster, or even a student today, is what is your vision? And where do you want to take your firm, your organization? Where do you want to be considered to be? This is something which is very, very important. If you do not know what your strength is, can you actually be where you are? In most of my mentoring classes to students, I always ask them a very, very basic question. That if you use a smartphone, can you use a smartphone without using your feature, without knowing the features of the phone? You would not even be able to open the phone. And once you open, would you be able to use all the features of the phone? Majority of us purchase the high-end smartphones and keep it with us, and I do the same thing. But how many of us know the features and use it optimally? We hardly use 5 to 10% of those features. The same way, how many of us have ever tried to understand what are our features to basically be one of the leading chartered accountants of the world? Are we capable? If we are not capable, what is lacking in us? If something is lacking in us, how do we improve on it? If we have certain negativities in us, how do we remove those negativities? Is something that we have to look into, which we are not doing. If you do not understand what is your feature, if you do not understand what is your capability, if you do not understand what is your weaknesses, will you be able to use your mobile phone slow? And how can you expect to use yourself? So, once you decide what you want to be, you have to do an introspection to understand what is my strength, what is my weakness, where is the area, what is the industry in which I want to serve. I cannot be a grandmaster of all the areas. Vishwanath Anand cannot play cricket, he cannot play football, he cannot play hockey like the great legends. I cannot expect Vishwanath Anand to basically compete with Usain Bolt in running. He has his field of chess and he is one of the best. Even today, I think last week he had beaten Kasparov 2 times, the former world champion. Because that is what is his field, his vision. He knows his strength, and that is the place where he's executing it to the maximum. As youngsters, what we do, we basically say, sir, if I do not do direct taxes, if I do not do indirect taxes, if I do not do company law, if I do not do accounting, if I do not do compliances, clients will not come to me. I think this is one of the biggest challenges you have. A client says, I want a single window service. You are too small to have super specialists in all those single window services. So your basic concept comes is that, okay, fine, I am not into all these services, but if I don't take it, I will not get my client. So what we end up doing, we end up starting taking up all the jobs. So you take up accounting, you take up direct taxes, you take up indirect taxes, you take up company law, you start doing audit, you start doing compliances, you start doing ROC procedures. How much time do you have to upgrade yourself? Majority of us have not even spent 1 or 2 days time in understanding our strength and our features. How can you basically get into a law in so many areas and say that you want to be a grandmaster into one? Is it possible? I think after 27 years of being into indirect taxes, the only thing I have learned is that I do not know most of the law. And that's one field. I sometimes tell my friends, especially in the official area, they say, Sanjay, it's very easy for you to say you've got partners in all the field. We are single persons, so how can we basically deliver? We have to take up the work. I can't go to 10 different people. If I give the company or to somebody else to do it, that my client will go off on my side. He'll also do the income tax, he'll also do the sales tax. Then what will I be left with? But today we have to look into this particular concept to say that what I want to be. And if for that, if I want to be a super specialist, then I have to restrict myself, I have to restrict my energy, because the time and the energies are always going to be limited for all of us. Nobody, I'm sure, has more than 24 hours in a day. If anybody has more than 24 hours a day, please do tell me the technique what you're for. In this 24 hours a day, 8 hours we are losing for our basics called sleep, food, etc., which many people may spend 10 hours, 12 hours also, but 8 hours is the bare minimum that even a person like me spends. You have hardly got how many hours left? 16 hours more. In that 16 hours, can you only be working? Don't you want a life? Don't you have a family? So after you set up your vision, the second most important thing that you have to do is set up your priority in life. Your priority is to be the number one in the world. Your priority is to be happy in the world. These two are very different concepts. Some of us will be very happy if we become the number one in the world. But majority of us would be very unhappy if you are the number one. Why? Because number one is just a number. The number of sacrifices you have to be the number one in the world is huge, and that is not going to be something which is going to come without the cost. It would come at the cost of your health. It would come at the cost of your family life. It may create a lot of wealth for you, but it can also give you a lot of pain, sacrifices, which can be very, very high. So once you have your vision, the next most important thing is that you create your priorities. What I want to do. I want to be happy. I want to be successful. I want to be rich. I want to be a mentor. I want to be into education. I want to see 100 chartered accountants become bigger than me. That's also a great vision, right? 100 chartered accountants coming from a young chartered accountants offices in the next 20 years, and they being better than the bosses. I think every boss has a desire to see his students grow bigger than him. Because that is the time he can say, "Ye mera bachcha." But are we working on that direction? Are we doing that? Because we always were, okay, when we were young kids, did you have a say in joining which nursery you want to join? You didn't have a say. Did you have a say in saying which school you want to join? You did not have a say. You had a little bit of say to say, I want to join this particular college for my 11th and 12th. I have to join this particular college for my degree. But most of the time, you were bulldozed by your parents, bulldozed by your well-wishers to say that you will join this particular course. But post-degree, when you come into CA, you do your law, you do any other profession, basically, it is you who normally decides, because without your decision, without you being confident of doing it, are you going to get into that? So taking this into the concept of saying that my vision is that, my priorities are that, and after my priorities, I understand what is my strength and weaknesses, whether I can achieve, what I have to upgrade myself, what I have to reduce myself, and then I take it up further. Then comes across what are the challenges that we as youngsters have. Many of the youngsters have a few major challenges. The first challenge which I would come, I remember in 1992, we were doing a skit, and for the drama of formation of a company, I had 4 chairpersons. I still remember that. Mr. K.S. Ravishankar, Mr. Padanthil Kincha, Mr. Mohandas Pai, and Mr. Yafar Sandhi. I had 4 chairpersons for one drama to judge it because they are very clear. You are doing about the formation of a company. You are going to have direct taxes. You are going to have indirect taxes. You are going to have project funding. You are going to have company law, etc. We are not specialists in that. We will be very clear that we will restrict ourselves to one. This was in 1992 when these 4 great gentlemen, my gurus, on this day of Guru Purnima, I would like to recognize all these 4 gurus also, along with Mr. Kiranjan Nahar, where I did my articleship also. Because they were very clear and focused to say, this is my super specialization, I will not get into the other areas. Not that Mr. Padan Kincha did not know indirect taxes. He probably knew that much of indirect taxes what Mr. Yafar Singh knew. Mr. Yafar Singh knew that much of direct taxes what Mr. Padanthil Kincha knew. Mr. Mohandas Pai, along with finance and company law, also knew what the direct taxes meant to him. Because he was the man who decided on the source. For Infosys, he was the man who set up the valuation principles for how do you value your human resources in Infosys. A brilliant personalities. But they were very clear that we will not get into it. When I did the skill, we made one blunder in that skill. I had seen one part of practice which was different from theory, and that was corruption. To add humor into the drama, we added corruption also into it. And believe me, in front of everyone in a public platform, when your guru, whom you respect a lot, Mr. K.S. Ravishankar, took us left, right, and center and said, is this what you want to teach the youngsters? We were school students, we were not chartered accountants. But he said, Sanjay, is this what you want to teach the youngsters? Do you want them to be corrupted to say that everything in India works only with money? Corruption is an important part, and you have to learn corruption practices also. I think this is one of the challenges we have in India today of corruption and ethical practices. This, in my opinion, as youngsters, we should take it up as an opportunity, not as a challenge. Be clean, be strong, and today you don't have to really bother who the officer is. Today, the concept of assessments have changed in the world. You have got the faceless assessments. Your officer doesn't know who you are, you do not know who your officer is, then why do you want to maintain a relationship with them? Why do you want to maintain all these factors of taking care of them? I think today it is the golden boon for the youngsters to say that we would not get into these areas and do it across. Somebody may say who's listening on the screen or who are sitting here, Sanjay has talked all this, does he not practice it? Probably yes. On the platform, I can say that yes, we would have also practiced, we may be practicing it. But the fact is that, is this what would give you happiness? Definitely no. Is this what is going to take you at a different scale when you meet a large client and say that, if you want, sir, I can pay 10,000 rupees and get this work? No. He would expect you to say, you are legally right, I will get this done for you, and we will not pay anything. This is going to be your challenges, and this is also going to be an opportunity because many of your seniors have been used to the regular assessments. Before 1989, there used to be a compulsory compulsory assessment for all income tax returns will be done. Numbers are less. So what used to happen? Every return you file, you have to take the books to the officer, get it assessed and come back. That relationships mattered. Harassment was there. Volumes were there. Today it is not there. Today if you have a notice coming to you or your client, you just have to reply it online. You don't have to bother what he thinks about it or not. Today you have got much more time. Today technology has come into your favor. And the biggest opportunity which I say for the youngsters today is technology. And the biggest challenge for the youngster today is technology. How is that? Technology is the biggest opportunity for you because many of the seniors are not well versed in technology. Every activity, let it be on a procedural level, let it be on compliance level, is all techno-friendly today. But many of the seniors are not well versed. They depend on staff. They depend on juniors. They depend on technical people to do these jobs because they are hesitant to learn and grow on technology. You have this huge advantage. Then how can this be a challenge for you? The challenge is going to be that the client himself will do 80 to 90% of the job what you were doing for him earlier as a consultant. Because the softwares which are being created today are so strong and so good that they comply most of the compliances which are required to be done. That only a supervision or basically vetting of those things would be sufficient for you to see that the compliances are done for the client. So why would he come to you? So today, the compliance levels have increased, the volumes have increased. That is an opportunity. The challenge is that you do not get margins into that. So why be into a field which does not give you margins? Then what are the other opportunities and the challenges that we have? Is the temperament. Just like I told about the young kid, when you ask him about English and he says that yes, I know English. Have you seen a young kid, which I always compare it with the young professionals, the amount of energy that they have? Every young chartered accountant has at least 3 to 4 times more energy than most of the seniors who are 20 years senior to them. Agree or not? You have a better health, you have more time, you have more of this thing, empowerment to sit in the front of the system to do it. So you have something which is called as an energy, you have something which is called as time. You do not have many clients, so basically you can also upgrade yourself in this fast-changing technological world, in terms of technology, in terms of law. Then what is the challenge? The challenge is that the youngster still does not have the experience. That fine-tuning is missing. Now, if I say as a youngster who just joined the CA profession that I am equivalent to Mr. Padamchand Kincha, I should be joking. Even after 27 years of practice, I would still recommend Padamchand Kincha to be at least 10 or 20 times more greater than me. That's the level of knowledge these people have. And I'm proud to say that they are my teachers who are even today upgraded to such an extent that they are 10 times better than what we were or we are. That's the level our gurus were. But you may not find such mentors today. You may not find such gurus today. Try to identify that if there is a fire, who is going to bail you off? If there is a fire, which senior you can approach and take this help without losing the client? This is one of the biggest opportunities you can get. And in a city like Bangalore, I can tell you, many senior chartered accountants even today do not charge the youngsters when they come to them for basic consultancy. Earlier, they would not charge even for major consultancies, but today, at least for the basic consultancy, you can be assured that if you ask them about, yeah, you cannot demand your, sir, I want to have this clarification, I want it now, it will not happen. You have to give respect that they also are busy people, learned people, and they may be into some meetings. But definitely they respond back, and this is what I have seen in my practice, at least in a city like Bangalore, which may not be the case in a city like Chennai or in any other city like Delhi or Calcutta, where seniors were not that forthcoming to help you out. My seniors, I'm proud to say, had set that benchmark across in Bangalore to say that youngsters will come, chartered accountants. I still remember, I was waiting outside the office of Mr. Vitali and Pungur when I was planning to contest for the Bangalore chapter elections. He thought I was still a student. He made me wait outside. The moment Ravi Prasad told him that Sanjay is waiting for you, he said, where is he? He said, sir, the boy who's sitting outside. Is he the same Sanjay Dhariwal, CA, who's contesting for the elections? I said, yes, sir. Then he said, why is he sitting outside calling him? So many of the Bangalore CA senior firms have a philosophy to say if any chartered accountant, even if he's a youngster, comes to meet them, they give them a priority time, even if they're not taken on. They will not satisfy your query right then because they will be busy with another client, but definitely they will not make you wait for long, except if you are going to meet Mr. Mohandas file, and if you are late by half an hour, he'll make you wait for 1 hour. He is that rigid when it comes to timing. And I'm telling all these because they have been my gurus and they are my gurus and they made me wait for 1 hour in 1992. So this is the advantage a chartered accounting student has in Bangalore. And in any other city also, you start creating a mentors list. I think this is a very, very important aspect that in every field, supposing you are doing into multiple activities, you are being an outsourced CFO for your client, where you handle the accounting, you handle the tax, you handle the banking, you get the project funding, everything, you cannot be a super specialist in all this. Realize your potential and say, I cannot be a grandmaster in this. But there are grandmasters in this. You identify different experts in different fields and then you put them into the mentor list. How many of us have gone to our mentors and discussed with them the problems? Many times we say, I am alone, single practitioner, how do I know, what do I know? I think it is time that you maintain your relationship rather than the departmental people, if you start maintaining relationship with your mentors and start getting them into work. It can involve a financial cost also in the future. If you are making money, they may charge you also. It doesn't matter. But at least you will not lose your clients for a poor quality of service which you're doing, and that is very, very important. So try to create a mentor base for yourself to see in terms of practice, in terms of clientele, in terms of areas that you meet them across, and then you create your firm. The next important aspect is that is it good to be an individual practitioner or is it good to be into a team of people joining together into it? In this, there are different thought processes. I believe that 80 to 90% of the chartered accountants are proprietorship or partnership with less than 3 partners, right, Shetty sir? Less than 9, more than 80% are into that. So that means to say that there is a belief that chartered accountants cannot work with other chartered accountants. Is it true? Partnership is much more tougher than a married life. I can tell this and watch for this for the simple reason is I have only one wife. I'm not divorced with her, but I have had more than 15 partners, and right now I have got just 4 partners. That means 11 of them have joined me and left me across. So I believe retaining partners is more tougher than basically having a wife, retaining a wife. Why is it? Because every personality whom you meet believes he is the best. Every person when he works believes he's contributed the most. Every person believes that I have got the maximum revenue. What has Sanjay done? These are going to be your challenges when you get into a partnership firm. But then, if you are going to again consider this to be a challenge and leave it, then you are not going to grow. Can you handle a client who's having 10,000 crores of business, 20 locations? Would you be able to go and deliver any work for him? Then you go for stock taking itself, forget any other activity for 20 locations. You cannot do it. If you want to take care of large clients, if you want to see bigger money coming in, if you want to create a brand of yourself to say that we are dealing with large clients like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, you have to see to it that you have a team. Then you require a mentor for your partnership firm. Many partnership firms I've seen have started, they do very well for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and suddenly the partnerships collapse. Why does the partnership collapse? The partnership collapses because we do not have mentors for partnership firms. And this is a time as youngsters and as young CA firms or as individual CA firms, I would say that you should get into having mentors for your CA firm. Take guidance before you set up your partnership firm. Take guidance post. I remember so many chartered accountants who come to me including my senior, when they took youngsters as partners over there, again, I will not take names, a very strong brand who also contested for the Central Council elections. He sent his two young partners and said, Sanjay, please guide them because you have experiences of losing partners. Guide them what are the problems you face when you deal with partners. And the first thing I told them was, you will always feel that you are a better contributor than your other partner. And till you have that ego in you, till you have the thing that I did more, your firm is never going to grow. Please give respect, please give credit, not only for your partners, but also for your employees. That is one of the mantras if you want to grow big. That is one of the mantras if you want to retain your partners. Otherwise, you're not going to retain your partners. Let it be any organization today. If the main boss is, or the senior people start saying, I did this, I did that, I achieved this, I achieved that, will your juniors work with you? No. The same principles we have to say that as youngsters, when we join together, some may get work. Everybody has a different talent. Everybody has a different feature. Just like mobile, an Apple would be different from a Samsung. Does it mean Samsung is bad or Apple is bad? Each has its own use, each has its own value, each has its own market values across. You have to basically see that it has to be complementing each other, and only then a firm can grow. And this is one of the important challenges I see today in practice, where many of us are not able to handle our partners. We talk about big clients. If I get a big client today and I give it to my partner and the revenue is accounted into his head, he says I did it and I say I did it. I referred the client and he says I executed the work. There was a time when getting clients was a bigger challenge. Today, the bigger challenge in the CA practice is not getting a client, but execution of work, which most of us fail to understand. A chartered accountant's firm has challenges, and the biggest challenge it has is manpower challenges. I do not know how many of you really realize this, but the biggest challenge a chartered accountant firm has, had, and will be a manpower maintenance. How many of us can say that if you are a 10-year-old firm, I've got people who are working with me for 8 to 9 years. If you are a 30-year-old firm, we can say that I've got at least around 5% of my employees working for more than 20 years with me. We cannot claim that. The reason is we have not groomed our students. We have not groomed our manpower to become better than us. We have not given them the respect to become better than us. Then how are they going to stay with you? This is a time when we have to basically change our mindsets to say that a peon in my office one day should be sitting on my chair and I should be serving him a cup of tea. And that is the day when you realize that your egos are down and your organization status on the topmost level. This is the change we have to get. And I am proud to say that 2 of my boys who were as office boys in my office, they became my partners, they are my partners, and I see that the value of what they add to the gross revenues of my firm is much, much beyond what I can even think of having today. This is the challenges that you have today of maintaining your manpower. This is the challenge you are having today of maintaining your partners' egos. And this is something, probably what we require is a mentorship thing. I would request our chairman, if possible, to have a mentorship cell for the youngsters who are coming at least.
Already have a mentorship.
So my chairman is already saying that there is an app of our Bangalore chapter which basically talks about wherever anybody requires any mentoring, etc. It is there. Mentors are on board. A few of them are doing it, but I believe youngsters are not joining it as mentees, and they are not joining it. I think it is time that you look into this. The technology can be done across. You need not spend 2 hours to go to your mentor's office and do it. I remember I have done a mentorship for people from Bijapur, a small young guy who was doing business of working under somebody and doing business, and today he is owning that business. Believe me, mentors are one of the most important things. Today, if Karan was not taken by Dronacharya, he definitely lost a good mentor, right? Eklavya was not given the opportunity to learn everything, he lost his son. So mentors are equally important, and this is the area where you have to identify, depending on your nature and your feasibility with your mentors, that is also equally important. You just cannot take anybody for your mentors. That is also equally important. The next is a temperament issue. I think many of the youngsters today are far, far brilliant than the people who are more than 10 years of practice. But then, after they set up their practices, we have seen that in 2 years' time, they quit their practices and get into employment. Employment is showing you a better revenue when it comes in a consolidation. Like today, the same friend of mine whom I told also advises Mukesh Ambani. His pay scales are around 10 to 20 crores a year. Nowhere we are compared over there. So employment looks much better. But still, they respect us more because we set up our own organizations and they're working for some of the organization. And this actually matters. If ultimately money is not the only thing, what is important is happiness. And how many of us are really happy? And this question you should ask every 3 months to yourself. This is what I have done. Am I happy or am I not happy? I think this is one thing that many of us in the rat race, when we are starting to achieve something, starting to grow something, starting to work hard, getting new clients and expanding, especially when I remember when VAC came in, there were around 100 new speakers which came in Bangalore on indirect taxes. And everybody thought that this is going to be a great opportunity to make money. How many realized that this is going to be a very painful legislature, the way it was implemented? It's a challenge today to make money in GST. Audits have gone. Procedures are so painful. Is your client going to pay for 10 changes in a year for the procedures? He's not going to pay you for that. He's going to say, you have taken a contract to file my returns. If there are 10 changes, you manage it. I'm not going to bother. So you have to also identify the areas in which you have to go. But temperament is one thing that we have to see which youngsters do not have. One more important aspect is ethical practice. Many times, say I went for business consulting yesterday and the business valuation was around 200 crores. So my client had the 200 crores to invest into this to take it across. As a consultant, I give him an advice. You take this company, it is worth it. I would have got a fee of 20 lakh rupees. On the other hand, if I tell him that instead of this 200 crores putting it across over here, you put it into 10 different companies, I would have got a fees of around 2 crore rupees because then I'll be handling his wealth management or investment management. Now the question comes in that should I go for 20 lakhs or should I go for 2 crores? Technically, I would say that yes, we should go for 2 crores because that is more money. But what does your ethics say as a professional? Your ethics as a professional say, advise something which is good for the client. That means to say, we go back to the fundamentals of our old age was saying that don't kill the golden egg laying goose, right? We have always been telling that. So if you are going to get tempted to make the 2 crores today and see that your client's businesses are destroyed, are you going to grow? You may see money today, but is the client going to be with you? If you are not going to maintain ethical practices, will your partners maintain ethics with you? If you are not going to maintain ethical practices, will your staff maintain ethics with you? If you are going to say in the name of bribes, I'm giving it to the officer, keep margins over there, or keep margins from negotiation deals which you do for your client, will your partners, will your employees also do that? Definitely they'll also start doing it. And that your ethics plays a very important role. I always believe that as chartered accountants, if our ethical standards are high, the respect we get from the clients are going to be higher, and it is the place where we are going to grow. So, where you see there is an opportunity, the challenges are also there. Where you see a challenge, the opportunities are also there. Where you see that there are 80 crore jobs going away from the market, not only in our profession, worldwide, 80 crore jobs are going to go across. Where we saw in this pandemic, there were lots of people who were afraid of, who lost their jobs also. There are a lot of businesses which are finding it very difficult also. There are still the BSc and the NSC listed spreads which did fantastic because the profits are actually improved. Are these bogus figures? Prima facie no, they're not bogus figures. They have made the profits. But how many of us have advised our clients to say that, say, for example, you have a jeweler client with you, and all of a sudden in the year 2021, you saw that his net profit is more than 20% of his sales value. Is it actually his profits? Legally, yes, it is his profits because he has purchased gold at 3,000 rupees a gram. He has sold the jewelry at 4,500 or 4,800 rupees per gram. So therefore, he is made a 33% profit on this sale value because the stock which he had purchased at 3,000 has been sold at 4,500. But then the 4,500 rupees, what he has sold, he replaces with the 4,500 rupees gram of gold again today. And if the market comes for a correction of say 4,200 or 4,100 rupees, there would be a losses. So technically, under the income tax law, you have made profits. You are asking to pay the taxes. Once he makes a high profits, you can also see that the client would say that I'm going to buy a Mercedes car, I'm going to buy a Volvo car, I'm going to buy a Lamborghini or whatever you call it. It's very difficult to pronounce these cars also nowadays. You always do that and then you say that wow. And then next year when the corrections happen, he may not realize this. So as consultants, as chartered accountants, you have to go beyond your brief at times to save on your clients. If your client says, do my audit, you will do your audit and say, yes, you have made a 30% profit, you have made a 20% net profit. But actually, has he made the 20% profit? If you do not advise your client that he recognizing that profit is technically wrong, be careful. You have paid the taxes, you have made your money. But this is not an actual profit. This is only a historical profit which you have made across. So you have to be a little careful in your spending. That will make the client survive. Many of the youngsters, when we advise them, they get fascinated with Zomatos, they get fascinated with Facebooks, they get fascinated with Oyos and all that, to say the valuation gains are so high. They bring the parents across to us and say, sir, you please tell my father he doesn't understand. He's a traditional sort of a business. If I bought 2 crore rupees of my father today, this would be valued at 200 crores. How many businesses today are going to be 200 crores worth valuation by burning 2 crores? You will never know that along with the 2 crores, you would have burned out the whole family assets completely. As consultants today, this is a great opportunity which youngsters have, which many of the senior chartered accountants are not taking up because they have become too rigid in advising clients on direct taxes, indirect taxes, company audits, compliance, etc. And therefore, they are not able to take it up and do it. Youngsters understand what is going today. Today, I'm sure when the Zomato issue came in, it would be the maximum youngsters who would have subscribed to the public issue of the Zomato issue rather than the senior members because today you understand technology can give you money. You understand that by technology, how you're capturing the businesses of other people and doing it across. What is the asset base that Zomato has? It is all virtual assets. Again, I come across a real fact of my life. I was speaking to Mr. Mohan last time, and I asked him, sir, which is a good investment? I'm talking about 93, 94, 95, I'm sure. His younger brother, Mohan Ramchandra was my partner at that time, and I said, sir, which is a good investment to me? He said, Sanjay, Infosys is a good investment, which he normally wouldn't have told. And I'm telling this after 25 years to everyone, because he normally would not say where he was working that buy this. He said, I think Infosys is a good investment. I said, sir, are you joking? What are the assets there? They have grown at a pace of 130% per annum, 150% per annum in 94 to 2000. So the valuation change, the profitability change. If I had invested that 1 lakh rupees into Infosys that time, I would have been worth 4-5 crores today. I put it into a company called G Shipping because that was the next advice he gave me. That's a good company. I think it is still at 1 lakh or 2 lakh rupees. So many times, like Warren Buffett says, that he failed in understanding the technological world, and because of that, initially he did not invest in technology. I think today, many of us as chartered accountants, as senior members of the profession, we unfortunately are too rigid in our thought process. youngsters have a huge opportunity over there where you can relate to what are the changes which are happening. Today, you can relate that photographs can be taken better on a mobile phone than on a Yashica phone. Today, you can relate to say that HMV is no more the disc which you are going to listen to music. You have got enough of downloads which you can listen to on your mobile phone, connect it to the car. You just need a Bluetooth. You don't even need a tape recorder to run your basic music, what you want. You don't require CDs, you don't require pen drives. Everything can be downloaded because that is what the technology is. This probably a person with 50, 60, 70 years of age may not be able to appreciate. What used to change in 10 years, 20 years is changing very, very fast today. What is the other challenges that the chartered accountant, young chartered accountant has? Is the fact is that should I be into job or should I be into practice? I think this is one of the basic questions, Chairman sir. I think people ask you also today, sir, should I go for job or should I go for practice? Which is better? Every person, it would depend on what exactly is his strength or weakness. You cannot just have a taboo to say the job is better or practice is better. We have to first understand what is the strength of that person who's coming to you to ask you whether the job is better or practice is better. What is required for a practice? For a practice, a person should be outgoing. Every person is not outgoing. For a practice, you require to be a little street smart because you have to convince people to come to you when you have got a huge competition. For practice, you should be a go-getter to get the businesses in the work, though our institute doesn't permit us to market it. You need not market by putting a banner, you need not market it, but you can market yourself by writing articles in leading newspapers and journals, by writing articles on WhatsApp and sending it on social media. Youth marketing can be done. Sharing knowledge is one of the biggest marketing skills today. Coming on this platform and talking on the ICI platform itself is a great marketing concept today because this platform of ICI, trust me, every time I used to come and speak on indirect taxes here, I used to get at least 2 clients and go back. So many people say you're wasting a lot of time on seminars and lectures, etc. I used to say that is the biggest marketing tool I got today of sharing knowledge, and with that knowledge, if your intentions are good, you will get your clients. How many youngsters today are going into the writing skill? How many youngsters today are going into writing books today, doing research today? Unfortunately, no. Most of the youngsters we see today are going into shortcuts as far as making money, shortcuts as far as being successful in practice, and that is one thing which we should not avoid. Take the longer route, create your fundamentals, create your base. Again, I go back to Mr. Palinjan Kecha. When I was about to start my practice, I approached him and I said, sir, I'm starting my practice. So I asked him a very simple question, which I'm sure every youngster who's listening today would have the same question. Sir, should I go for Saraswati or should I go for Lakshmi? That means to say, should I go to increase my knowledge base or should I go to make more money? And Patanjali had told me, Sanjay, अगर सरस्वती आएगी तो प्रोफेशन के लिए लक्ष्मी कहीं दूर नहीं है. And I believe in that statement today. And that is why I say that you require mentors to be into where you are today. And without those mentors, you cannot achieve what you want to achieve. There are many people who have done articleship under Patanjali. There are lots of people who are their clients who go to them regularly. But believe me, how many people have made him his mentor, as their mentor, and taken the advantage of having him? The day you get into the right mentors, the day you get into the right philosophies, the day you get your fundamentals clear, nobody can stop you from growing. And this is one of the biggest advantages you have. And I would say the opportunity and the challenges when we talk about today, technology has given you a great opportunity. You can meet a mentor across the globe. You don't have to wait here. For example, today, if I want to sharpen my skills on negotiation, I have joined an online course from Harvard University just to upgrade myself on this particular course because online it is possible today. 10 years back, could I upgrade myself without going to the United States of America. I couldn't do that. Technology has given you a great concept of listening to the best of the experts across the globe. 5 years back, 10 years back, if the chairman of Bangalore chapter of ICI wanted to get a speaker from Delhi, he used to say, should I call him, should I not call him? He will come out, but who's going to bear the cost? Right, sir? His flight tickets, his stay, accommodation, send a taxi to pick him up and drop. And then one day is wasted. Like today, I wasted my chairman's time of 2 hours by saying him that I don't want it online, I want it a hybrid model. That is the way some speakers can get fancy like that. Okay. But today, if you have to see the way technology has done, he has got some of the best speakers from across the country or the globe also today to address us and give us the best of the knowledges which otherwise you wouldn't have gotten. With that knowledge levels you have got, how many of you are actually using these? If you do not know to use a knife, you will only use it to murder and not to cut the or chop the vegetables in your house. You have to know the use of it. You have to know the advantage of how to use it across. And for that, you have to understand your feature. And to understand those features, basically, you will have to see to it that you achieve something in life. If you want to achieve something in life, have a vision, have a goal, have a temperament, have ethics, and also try to improve on what your strength is, try to reduce your weaknesses, and that would be the game changer, which is very important as far as opportunity and challenges are concerned. There's huge opportunities in new areas today. Outsourcing is a big opportunity. Call centers are a big opportunity. I'm sure accounting and taxation would be a very big opportunity. Today, in a place like Chitradurga, I can basically do an outsourcing job for a person who's from Bombay or Delhi or abroad. And believe me, the costing in Chitradurga would be much cheaper than the costing in India or the costing in the US. And that, because of technology today, you can become a big challenge for anybody in the globe. At times we wonder that we are competing with the world's best firms. At times we wonder we are challenging or competing with the India's largest firms. But believe me, we are also competing, or they are also competing with the world's cheapest firms. And this is what technology has done. So that is a challenge, that is an opportunity, and this is where we have to go. What are the new areas? Don't be restricted to the old areas. Don't be restricted to the traditional areas. There are so many new areas that are coming up. Business consulting is a great area. Wealth management is a great area. We have already had those sessions. Today, insolvency code is a very big area. We have had sessions on that also. How many of us are actually using those concepts? First, you have to be aware of what are the new areas. You cannot say, I'm not into it, so I don't want to listen to it. If you're not aware of what is available in the world, would you be able to taste all the food in the world? You would not be. If you want to know which is the best food in the world, you have to taste each of the foods to understand which is better and which is not. The same way, you have to basically be having, as they used to say when we were students in CA, that you should know something of everything and everything of something, which is even today applicable in CA exams. Same way, in the professional world, you should be aware of everything what is happening, and you should be a grandmaster of something which is happening. I think only then you can make a change, you can change the world, and you can also contribute a lot to your bank kitties and your bank balances. And believe me, there was a time for every activity we used to do for a client, we had to send a boy to his office to get an approval for the draft what we have given him. He would verify, make the changes, send it back physically to you. Then you have to again make the changes, again give it to him. Again, he would verify, make the changes, and again give it to you. Then again, you have to print out and give it to him for the signature after all the changes. And then again, one more person had to go to collect those papers to do it across. 6 to 8 times, my office boy had to move across to those people to get one document or one reply to be filed along with the department. And then I had to send one more boy to the department to file those copies. Today, technology has taken such an important part in our life that you send him a mail, He rectifies it in the mail and says they have these points. You do it again and send him again the mail to say that this is approved, okay. He says yes, he signs it, he uploads it and gives it across to you. You upload it on the systems today and do it across. And how much of time you have saved, how much of money you have saved, as well as the speed in which you can deliver things. The speed. Earlier, I remember we used to use the typewriters for typing of statement of total income, debtors list, creditors list. I'm talking about 1990s, early 90s, 80s, ending. When we were articles, we used to do that. Supposing there was a mistake in one sheet of a debtors, our bosses used to say retype the whole page. After the whole page was retyped, again there would be a mistake somewhere else which we had to verify, and again we had to go for a retype. We used to make huge losses in stationery, manpower, typing, and re-verifying. Today, what do? You basically make an amendment to a particular thing to say that this is wrong, this is the change to be done, and you just incorporate it only by changing that particular portion of it, and then you take the final controls or you online itself, you find it across. You're saving so much time. Mistakes have reduced. You have got today, spelling mistakes are not there. Why? Because you've got autocorrects everywhere. You've got a huge advantage. So the only difference would be that it would not be the British English, it would be the US English into it. But then you have got so much of advantage today. And I would say that the present generation chartered accountants, the youngsters today are blessed that you have this opportunity. The number of students coming down, unfortunately, is something for all the senior members to sit and really have a discussion as to say, why are the numbers of the CA going down when this is even today one of the best courses which I believe it is in terms of money, in terms of cost of education, in terms of what it gives it to you. And before I conclude, I would just put it across the last statement. I would fail in my duty if I don't recognize Mr. Kumar Mangan. Mr. Kumar Mangan Birla had come to Bangalore to deliver a lecture for us chartered accountants. I think it was somewhere in 2003 or 4. And he had just taken over the Birla group after his father retired at a very young age. And he was also very young. At that time, people had not seen him much. They did not even recognize him by the photograph. And he came to deliver a lecture at Choria Memorial Hall to all the chartered accountants in Bangalore. I was part of the organizing committee that time when we did this particular program. And you should have seen the grace and the simplicity that gentleman had. He had somebody else sitting in the car with him. The moment the car stopped, he ran to open the door for the other gentleman who was sitting with him. How many of us have been trained to do that during an articleship? How many of us do that as chartered accountants? We think that once we have become consultants in chartered accountants, we have become very big. He sat with us on his steel chair and had a cup of tea, on a steel cup of tea in Choria Memorial Hall, and he sat in the green room. There was no separate room given for a man of Kumar Mangan Birla's stature. This is not the point I wanted to say, but I just wanted to highlight the simplicity of that great man, which even today he has. And then, when he went to deliver his lecture for all of us, he said this important fact which I tell every student whom I mentor when I tell them to join the CA course. He said, I never wanted to do my CA. My father told me that if you do not do your CA, I will not send you abroad for the MBA. That is why I did my CA. I was supposed to do my CA, and after I did my CA, I was allowed to go abroad and do my MBA. After my father died, and all of a sudden, when I had to consolidate this business and manage this business, it was not my MBA knowledge which really came to my use. It was the chartered accountancy knowledge which came to my use. And that is why I'm indebted to the CA profession for the knowledge it gave me, for which I am able to run my organization. This, I think, is the most important message for all the chartered accountants, that we belong to the world's oldest profession. We belong to the most beautiful aspect of it. And believe me, this is something that we are not able to capitalize in the branding aspect also. We have got our logos, we have been putting it across, but very few chartered accountants are proud to say that I am a chartered accountant. And I think this is what I expect the youngsters to do it, because only when you are proud about being a chartered accountant, the opportunities will come to you. Thank you very much for the patient hearing. And question and answer, I leave it for the audience to put it across in the type box also, or they can ask also, and I'm willing to answer. Thank you.
I have two questions.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the first thing, we had very good sessions. You have told many opportunities and challenges. So my question to you is, as an advice, you qualified and you started practice right away, not going into employment, I believe. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What is the advice? Many people ask that.
For 9 months, I went for employment with Mr. Madhukar Gidekar, who also on this Guru Putin would like to recognize him.
Okay, thank you. So, what is the advice? Many people ask, many youngsters and ask me also, what is the sincere advice we can give them? What passion they have to start practice or move to employment? What is it?
I would say that it also depends on your family circumstances, point number one. If you have challenges of financials at your house, then I would say get into employment, because practice needs a temperament of 5 to 10 years. I remember when I started my practice, people said, you work for 3 years and after that it will be all okay, you'll grow very well. The challenge is only for 3 years. After 4 years, I went to them and said, sir, it's already 3 years, what you said, it's 4 years, and still I have not grown. When will I grow? When will I see money? He said, wait for 5 years, you'll do it. But if you see, the real money you see in profession is after 10 to 15 years of practice, when the real money starts coming. Because you require clients, and it is a compounding factor. When you get into practice, it is a compounding growth. When you get into employment, it is a simple interest. That's what I believe in.
Yeah, continuation to that, the same question. Yes, once they come into practice, they know maybe they are passionate about practice, they come to practice. So what they have to do in current circumstance, everyone saying our traditional practice is going down year after year, GST not much of opportunity, income tax also becoming low, and company audits may also go away down the line. That is what the advanced countries now. So what is the current, how they can start their practice now? Whoever is coming now, if they are joining a already existing firm, yes, there is some way. If they will start their own firm, how they have to start? Whether they are going for a new avenues, or you mentioned is wealth management or succession planning or insolvency or whatever the new areas they have to jump into, or take up the traditional also and specialize something like that.
The first thing I would suggest a youngster is to set up a team who at least have 3 or 4 people together who can take up into different things. If you do not have a team and if you want to do everything, you will remain a jack of all trades. When we were young, they used to say you should not be a jack of all trades, you should be a master of none. In a CA profession, you have to be a master of all the trades and a grandmaster. I think this is the changes that we can have. So you have to have a team to basically do it across. The second thing is that should I get into the new areas and do it across? Why would anybody come to a business consulting for an investor like you? It's not going to be that easy. After 20, 25 years also, they will not come to some of my partners also in my office because they feel that the most important thing is that does he understand business? I think the most important thing when you're either into procedures, you're either into compliances or either into tax matters also, how many of us actually understood the business of our client? How many of us, when we are doing even a small thing like a rate of tax on a particular product, have we gone into depth of understanding what is the product? I'll just give a simple example. One of my clients was doing a road work, was doing the work for Reliance on basically the 2G in those days, wherein they had to put those wires across on the road. So he asked me that we basically put these wires in the road, we take the corporation roads, we dig it, we put the wire on that so that we basically can have the signals for the phones. I'm not being very technical in the language. And then he said that should I pay works contract tax because I'm using wire, I'm using cement, I'm using steel, etc. for covering the roads. I said you don't have to pay any tax. That was the pre-GST time, not the VAT time also. It was the sales tax time. I said you don't have to pay that tax. He said why? I said because what I can understand is that you are cutting the roads of the corporation that doesn't belong to your client. You're laying a wire which says there is no transfer of property to your client. He cannot remove that wire back because the road belongs to the corporation, so it can rent so. And there is no transfer of properties. Works contract under the sales tax legislature would not come. He was surprised. He said, I went to 4 different experts and nobody told me this. The reason why I was able to do that was because I had the temperament and I was a free man, which even today I am. I have a lot of time. Where I basically told him that I understood what nature of business is, what he's doing. How much of us, before spending time, giving our opinions, are actually spending time and understanding the business opportunity? As youngsters, you have the time. Understand the business. Understand how they work across. And believe me, once you understand this, your consultancy would be much, much richer than what you would have otherwise. So, as youngsters, should I go for new areas? Should I go for traditional areas? Should I go for job? I still maintain that if there is a compulsion of financials at home side, family side, get into a job, it pays you well. Because CAs are recognized in the employment market. And you grow decently there. If you have a passion to create your own brand, own dream, own organization, get into practice, again, there is a lot of scope, a lot of money. But then it will take time, you should have the temperament, and you should give the confidence to your client that you're not going to wind up in 2-3 years, which many of us have been doing that.
Yeah, my next question is, so suppose already existing firm, majority firm, as you already know, that more than 70% is proprietary, another 20-25% are 2-3 partners. Now, because of all this changing scenario, everyone is talking up to scale up. How one can scale up? What is the way forward? See, it is a chicken and egg situation for many of the smaller firms or medium-sized firms to scale up. Whether to hire someone, yes, I want to hire a chartered accountant, I want to hire an MBA. It's a big cost. Whether to hire first or the client first.
See, the first thing that you have to understand is that you have to learn from the current day business practices and implement it into your profession also. Earlier, every chartered accountant firm which had grown at a particular level started opening branches across the country. Every branch of a CA firm you open requires a working capital of 25 lakhs for setting up a fixed capital of 25 lakhs and a working capital of 30 to 40 lakhs before you start generating the revenue, because you require manpower, you require office space, you require advances to be done, you require furniture and fixture, you require software, everything to be done. Now, if I had to set up 22 offices or 29 offices across India, that would have costed me around 30-40 crores, then I had to run it like a business. The cheaper model for me was to set up an affiliate model, where I identified chartered accountants who were already in practice, and then we negotiated a revenue sharing model wherein we said that let us share the revenues and grow it across, and that is how we grew across, and that is how we set up our affiliate model. The similarly, when you're talking about the same city, first get into a partnership. Partnerships may not be feasible because you would like to understand the nature, you would like to understand the temperament of the other partner, the ethics of the other partner. Get into an associate model or an affiliate model where you take up one area, he takes up one area, you refer him that work, he refers you that work. So it is as good as a partnership. And today, you don't have to even meet the clients. No? You can add yourself on the Zoom calls and take a consultancy or an opinion today. It's very easy. Technology has given you so much of advantages. That you can have 10 offices across the country and still have a Zoom call and have a meeting. Earlier, when we had our affiliates meeting, we used to meet physically to all of us. Today, on a Zoom call, we all meet and it is hardly costing me peanuts. Nothing. So that is what it is. So getting into practice, yes. How do you set it up? You need not employ people. You can have a different concept. As far as he's a chartered accountant, you can have a revenue sharing. If it's not a chartered accountant, the institute does not permit you for revenue sharing as of today. But then with the multidisciplinary coming in across, there would be a model where you can share your revenues also. And this is the way. And believe me, the best practices is be ethical, don't snatch anybody else's client. If somebody refers to your client, restrict the brief to the extent what you have in mind. I think this is one place where many senior firms also don't follow. That if I send somebody for an exercise consultation, it takes a back also when I was practicing. There has to be a clear fundamental to say that if I have referred for excise, we can deal with excise. If somebody has referred for VAT, though my firm practice is income tax and audit, we will not take the income tax and audit till the other person says and take it. These ethical practices is lacking in some of the instances. If that can be done across, you can have a working relationship first, and after the working relationship works across, then you can think about getting into a partnership. Don't jump into the partnership also that fast, because the institute says that it's huge benefit. You also have to understand. I don't talk about live-in relationships, but partnerships or associates can be like the concept of a live-in relationship, where you can work together, understand each other, and then make it into a formal relationship of a partnership.
Yeah, so existing firm, maybe see that what you mentioned is networking or alliance is one part. See, the new areas of practice, many are not doing in fact. Maybe, for example, wealth management, except not many chartered firms doing in Bangalore, I believe. So only the non-chartered accountants are doing. Suppose a firm wants to set up that practice, is it a good idea to hire a new chartered accountant and chartered accountant maybe qualified in their firm? Is there a good idea to invest on them and make them specialize in that area to do the practice?
Please understand one thing, that many of the senior chartered accountants or the mid segment in CA firms, what I call it. Mid segment doesn't mean when you compare to the big fours. Mid segment means when you compare with Indian large CA firms and mid segment Indian CA firms. When you make that comparison, many of the mid segment CA firms are not into many of the areas. Either they are full-time into only direct taxes or full-time into only indirect taxes. No, they have started expanding it to get into audits, they are expanding into company law, they are getting into transfer pricing and all that stuff. What I would suggest to you is that if you are into that mid-segment bracket of the CA firm, you have an existing clientele base. You have an existing number of people who are coming to you. And those areas which are giving you a higher contribution, don't add those areas which leads into procedures and compliances which will not give you a good contribution. So work on that model. So wealth management is one, succession planning is one, legal is another area where there can be existing clients who need all these services, they could be there. And because you are doing those services, there will be new clients coming in who can also give you a lot of work in the field of income tax and audits and indirect taxes. It is a great win-win situation when you add new streams into your professional practice. Yes, you might have to invest. Yes, that is the fact that when you invest on a youngster, he becomes so big that he will say, why should I give this money to my firm when I'm contributing the most? And he will walk out also. Be prepared mentally for it. But just because a kid falls 100 times, does he stop walking? Again, I go back to my fundamentals of the starting of today's session to say that always compare yourself with a small kid which you meet across. After falling 100 times also, he gets up and he runs, right? But the moment you go, we cannot be faster. The same way as professionals, we will fall, we will have bad experiences, we'll have partners who will cheat you and go, partners who will leave you and go, employees who will cheat you and go, employees who will take your files and go. That does not mean that you stop your growth. There are still hundreds of people who are excellent in their ethical practices, who would give it back to you. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, any questions online, Suraj? Anyone have questions? No questions. Yeah, any questions available online?
Can you read it out if you don't mind with the mic?
No questions? Okay. So, yes, sir, you have a question?
Any of you would like to ask? So it is always said that when a speaker gives a talk and there are no questions asked, it is implied that they didn't understand what the speaker said.
Not necessarily, you have covered all the topics or the insights of the challenges and opportunities for the youngsters.
Yeah, my whole job today is only to trigger a thought process in the youngsters, not to give you answers. My whole objective is that if I give you a thought process, when it triggers for you to think about it, believe me, you will have many KPMGs, PwCs and all from our Bangalore youngsters who are listening to It's just a matter of time. But yes, there is a huge potential.
Yeah, I have one more question. See, now things are changing, particularly in information technology line. So today I heard in some other seminar is in next 5-10 years, audit means forensic audit or systems audit. How our NCAs work towards that? What is the idea you have in your firm or your advice to the youngsters?
Here, I personally believe that after a particular age, for every chartered accountant, the absorption, or every human being, the absorption comes from. What I could absorb at the age of 20s, what I could absorb at the age of 30s, what I can absorb at the age of 40s, at the age of 50s, it actually starts reducing now. That's why we came out of indirect taxes, because absorption is required more. And I thought talking on business consulting is the easiest because you don't have to remember every client has a different figure. So youngsters have a huge advantage when it comes to absorbing things, accepting new changes and technology. Once you become 40, 50, you become a little rigid, and then you're not able to adapt to it. So with the forensic audits coming in, with the technology coming into it, and the AI coming into our profession at a very, very high end, which is going to come. Whether you like it or you don't like it, artificial intelligence is going to come. And that is going to take away 90% of our work also. Everything is going to be driven by technology, but your job will still be that of supervision. Today, if you talk to the doctors, you have got robotics which has come in across where most of the operations are done by robots who are not done by the MBBS degree. But still, their cost as of today is 3 times more than the cost of a normal doctor, which is I was just talking to a doctor classmate of mine, and he said, Sanjay, that but still people prefer to go over there. Why? They prefer because it has a brand value, and you can tell to the world, I got operated by a robot. See, it matters. The same way today, clients would also like to get these things done because the efficiency of technology is going to be much higher. Today, if I remember, I used to work in a pharmaceutical shop, wholesale distributors in the year 1984 to 86. Along with my QC and degree when I was doing so, I used to work with my cousin's shop. And that time we used to make this invoice. We used to have 3 checks for the invoices. One person used to make a draft bill, then it used to come for totaling, then again the summary bill used to be done, and then we used to do. So the same invoice used to go for 3 different people of the family members to see that everything is done perfectly and correctly, and even in that we used to find mistakes. Today in this computer era, they have increased their volumes by 100 times. And they have lesser number of people in the billing section than what they had when they were doing 40 lakhs business. No, like 100 crores of business, they are having lesser number of people in the billing. So numbers, this is what is going to happen with technology. It's going to be much more efficient. It's going to be much more better. It's going to be less strained and constrained, and it's going to be much more cheaper. Because manpower is going to be costlier. Today, what we are talking, we are comparing India is getting a lot of business from abroad is because of our cheaper manpower. Is it going to remain so? It is not going to remain so. Our standard of living is also increasing it. So definitely technology is going to replace it. So you will have to get the youngsters to absorb the technology which you believe you are not able to absorb. I think that is something that we all have to do itself.
Yes, I'll come back. I think you already touched that point, the value addition, understanding business. I need some more elaboration on that. See, traditionally, this chartered accountant firm and the training of CA students is basically a compliance or finding faults or making report, all these things. Normally, it's like that. We are trained like that, and once we come to practice, we look into that only. We never think of value addition to our clients or to our whoever is coming to us. So, how we can change that system? Current system is like because the traditional practice is going down. So we need to move towards value addition. How we can train our students and how the partners themselves or the CS themselves should learn of that technique that I think we need to elaborate.
I think the first golden rule that every CA firm or every professional organization should follow, whether you are a CA firm or any other professional firm, is that follow what Mahatma Gandhi said. Your customer is your God. Many times when we chartered accountants, after they become a little big, advocates when they become very big, they don't bother about their clients. They treat them like shit. I think the most important thing is that they are the people who are feeding you. Today you may be the expert, you may be the best, but if the day they find an alternative, they will move across. 30 years back, clients would not move or change their auditors because they were afraid that he will inform all their bad practices. Today, most of the clients are not doing bad practices. So they're not afraid about changing the auditors also. So the first principle that we have to believe is and follow is the Mahatma Gandhi principle that customer is God and give that respect to the customer. But that doesn't mean that you make him sit on your head. This is also equally important. The second important factor that you have to also do is when you are dealing in your offices, everything, you have to see that you maintain your timely commitment. I think this is one of the biggest challenges I find amongst the youngsters also. They commit sometimes, they don't come, and they say they're only 15 minutes late. There are people who have lost jobs. My seniors, I remember Mr. Anil Raj Mehta, he went to Bombay for an interview for his first job. And he did not know Bombay, so he was late by 15 minutes. The person said, fine, thank you, you have come, you have done a great favor to me, now you can go back. He said, sir, job. He said, you're 15 minutes late, I can't waste my time. After that, I have never seen Anil Raj Mehta come late anytime. That is the change which happened. But how many youngsters do you see that who are able to maintain the timings? Most of us take things for granted. When particularly in a partners meeting, I've seen partners taking you for granted, saying that, yeah, my office time to काम कर रहा था, I was making revenue for all of us. So what's wrong with 15-20 minutes late? No, you have to maintain your timings. The third is deliverables. I think this is a very, very important aspect that the day you commit your client, the time you commit your clients, you deliver at that particular time. It's impossible for a man to deliver 100% on the time that he promises. But you still have a cell phone, you still have a WhatsApp, you still have an email ID of your client. You can directly tell him, sir, I'm extremely sorry, I'm not able to deliver it to you today. Can I do it on day after tomorrow, Monday morning? I'll do it. Why do you want the client to call you up and blast you? I think the deliverables is very important, and the communication with the client is that many of the chartered accountants fail, where MBAs are brilliant in the communication, in what they put it across. So that is another area that you have to look into when you are talking about improving your practices and challenges of committing it across. The next important aspect is value addition. Believe me, every article clerk of yours, every chartered accountant working with you, a paid assistant, and you do a lot of value addition to your clients. But how many times have we highlighted those value additions to our? How many times have we said to our clients that this was my scope, but this is an add-on I'm giving to you? We chartered accountants are very, very bad in packaging, and that is the place where we fail. That when we do a value addition, we don't highlight it. If yesterday morning I had another business consulting meeting for my client, they were investing around 2 crore rupees approximately for a business of around 200 crores into the food and the hospitality industry. We saved him 10% of that 2 crores what he was doing across. The way after the discussion was over, he said, well, we got it what we wanted. I said, no, you were ready for an X amount, but we got it reduced to this price, and you got, instead of 1%, you got 1.1% or so and so, and that is the benefit you have got across. So this is the value addition I have done by coming over time. Now, imagine if you are getting a 20 lakh rupees value addition to your client, will you not pay your 2 lakhs? But if you go complete, get him a 10% value addition, but you don't highlight it to the client, he will say, for a half an hour meeting, you're charging me 10,000 rupees, don't you think it is more? This is the difference. When we do a value addition, we should first know what value additions we have done. Then we have to convince the client that value addition what we have done. And if you're not highlighting it, you're not going to be paid for it. And that is the place where we have to really work hard. Yes.
Yes, Sanjay, you are not again told that. Last time you told me, so you have not told the audience today. I think you have forgotten that. So when you visit client for an assigned job, maybe GST or income tax, originally they call us for. So after completing that, you simply think in that.
I call it as I think Coffee Day took that logo from me, and this is something which I always tell people, which the chairman also offered me a cup of tea the moment I came to his chambers today. Normally, what happens is that when the client comes, we do the discussions. I have been trained by my guru, CA Sanjay M Dhariwal, to say that whenever a client comes, you should see that he has tea or coffee. उसके बाद client को भेजना नहीं है, काम ही नहीं है. And that same system I have started adopting in my office. I went one step ahead of what my books taught. So what I do is that after the work is over, I insist on another cup of tea. And believe me, that extra time of 10-15 minutes which I have spent with the client, I've got investments of 25 crores over a cup of tea which I spent extra after having the cup. Because that is the time that you talk about different business concepts, what is happening, how is the liquidity, how is the market, and then you realize that you've got some money, then you say that why don't we invest here, one of my clients is looking for. So this is the way, one of the ways that you can try to spend time with the client. Many people go to the golf, many people go to the bars to spend the time with their clients and get a lot of business out of it. I don't suggest bars because it is against my philosophy, but I definitely would say that a cup of tea matters a lot. And if you can spend the time of one cup of tea with your client after your work is done. When you're doing the work, yes, it's a basic courtesy, we all do it. Right? Even when you go to meet a large client for the first time, and you finish with, say, supposing I am the chairman of the Bangalore chapter, and I want to invite Mr. Narendra Modi for a session for our office, for our institute. And he would give me around 5 to 7 minutes. And when I finish the total minutes, this thing across, by mistake, if he says, Sanjay, chai piye ka kya? I will never say no. Many times you think, he's a big man, he's the Prime Minister of India, why waste his time? If he's given you his finger, eat his hand. And this is what you should do as chartered accountants, as professionals. When you meet a large client, you meet a big guy, if he gives you the extra 10 minutes, 15 minutes in the form of a tea or a coffee or something like that, just grab it. And believe me, that would give you great opportunities for professional growth.
Thank you. I think you answered my question. So then around 20 minutes, 2 more minutes to complete
2 hours.
Yeah. 2 hours of study. I don't want to curtail that 8 more minutes. So advice is students normally in our tradition, how we can inform or educate them to this value addition, because future is the value addition traditional and traditional.
I would rather like to answer a little more than what you have asked for when you talk about students. One of the reasons why many students do not perform well in exams, I get a lot of students who come to me before exams, post exams, and they always say, sir, how did you write your exams? So I will take up that situation also with your permission, to this thing that if any students would like to log in and listen to it later. The first principle I've seen against most of the students are that they study till the last minute. That is wrong. You are keeping yourself too stressed and mind occupied. And when you have a heavy baggage into your brains, it will not work that fast. The second tip I give to the students when I meet them regularly is that you try to see that you reach at least half an hour before the session, before your exam. I do that even today. I have done that. I found 45 minutes before the session only. I went into the chamber maybe half an hour before or 35 minutes before, but I have a very bad habit of wherever I go as a speaker, I basically go around 15 minutes to 1 hour early. Why do I go? I am a person who believes that I don't prepare for my lectures. So when I go early, I keep my mind fresh. I keep my mind free so that the flow of thoughts comes in. If the flow of thoughts do not come in, you will not be able to give the best. So that's the time when the chairman has to prompt you. In your examination, don't anybody prompt you. They cannot prompt you, right? You'll have to write what is that. So many times we know everything, but we do not write in the examination papers, our answer sheets, those things, because our mind is too occupied and we don't keep it fresh. If you are in a place that you reach on time, you will get stressed because you are getting running against time. But if you are half an hour or 15 minutes or 1 hour early to an examination hall, you are relaxed, have a short walk around, and then think about it. And believe me, that would pay you a lot of dividends. The next important thing, what you have to do in profession, as well as when you're writing your examination is do something called as an ABC analysis. Costing basically teaches us to do an ABC analysis to say that identify those products which are high value and low space. The same thing in your exams you have to see is that you identify those problems which are giving you more marks where you are very strong in that particular chapter and it takes less time. Because CA exam is not only an exam of knowledge, not an exam of memory, it is also a challenge against time because many students are not able to complete the papers on time. This happens because normally your accounts paper, the first problem is very lengthy. For 20 marks, you end up spending 1 hour's time. And that is the place. The same thing in professional practice also you have to do. You have to do an ABC analysis. You have to identify the cream of the clients. For example, we had a pandemic, or we still have a pandemic. We have just finished the second wave. How many of the chartered accountants have identified who are the major important clients? And in the pandemic time, when you were too much shut down at your house, you had nothing else to do, you could not practice your profession, assuming that you were not on cloud or anything like that. How many of you actually contacted your top clients, not only to find out how they are doing, what they are doing, but how the businesses will be impacted with this pandemic and how they are going to improve it and do it? I think these ABC analysis, what we do it in our day-to-day life, what we have been taught in costing. Many times I used to wonder, why do you have costing in CA? Why do you have statistics in CA? Why do you have mathematics in CA? I think these are beautiful things that every subject selected in the CA curriculum is a great subject. But the problem is, when we were students, we were taught how to pass those exams. We were not taught the fundamentals of how to use it into our practice. If we are able to use those things into our practice, believe me, you will be a class of. How many of us have been taught how to speak on a public platform? I was not taught in the CA fraternity. So that is the place where we do learn many times. So I think, and now this has become an important part. I remember in 1990 or 91 when Mr. Nagargupta was there in the Bangalore chapter. He had come for one of the SICASA programs, and that time I told, sir, CA students are weaker than MBA students because we do not know how to speak on a public platform. After 3-4 years, it happened as a coincidence that this became an important integral part of the training of articulture that you are trained for your soft skills. Is it not very important? So how many of us are using those soft skills in our practice later? We have learned that today. After 3 years, after 5 years, are we using it? I still see many chartered accountants who are 5 years, 10 years into the practice. They start shivering when they have to talk in front of an important or in front of chartered or the seniors. They should stand. Why? The skills what you are taught in the CA curriculum are fantastic skills. But please don't develop those skills to pass your exams only. That is also equally important. Without your degree, you are zero. But also try to see how you can apply it into your day-to-day activities, your business, your employment, wherever you are, and your returns will be substantially high.
Yes, to answer, we have reached the time.
Thank you, sir. And as I come early, I normally end up my sessions early also. Thank you very much.
We had a fabulous session. Sanjay ji answered all our queries, and it's a real value addition, and there is the need of the hour. Value addition is the need of the hour. Compliance practice is going down. So I thought this is an appropriate session we had, and definitely it added a lot of value. So to all the participants, thank you very much. On behalf of Bangalore, thank you very much, Sanjay ji, for your precious time and valuable knowledge shared with us. So I request Divya is there online, Suraj. I don't want to take her privilege.
That's all.
Yeah, please propose vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Dear members, I take this privilege to present a formal vote of thanks for today's program. Wholehearted thanks to our speaker, Sanjay Dhariwal, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for coming and conducting the program. Thank you so much once again on behalf of entire participants and also on behalf of all the managing committee members, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, big round of applause who are present here there physically to our speaker.
As a token of appreciation, let us present a moment to our speaker.
Big round of applause, members.
Advantage of having a hybrid.
Thank you so much. Sir. Thank you so much. Participants, thank you so much, all of you who are present physically and also virtually for your active participation. Thank you, all of you. Thank you.